Advent, the 24th of December, John chapter 1, verses 1 to 18. And so we come to the last day of Advent, 24 days and 24 reflections. Advent is intended for reflection and to look forward to the coming of Christmas. These reflections have allowed me to do just that, and I have learnt a lot from words I normally skim over, inoculated to their power by my familiarity to them. I have been challenged in a lot of ways, from being cut to my core by the insistent biblical mandate for justice to grappling with the wonder of Emmanuel, God with us. One of the majestic lessons that blazed through to me as I read these passages again was seeing how God has been active in the plan to send the promised one since the dawn of time, singing redemption song and planting seeds in heartbroken pain that would one day bloom into the miracle of resurrected hope. One of the writers of the biographies of Jesus' life also looked back when he gave his account of his coming. While Mark had started his gospel with Jesus appearing in Galilee, preaching and healing, preferring to focus solely on his public ministry, John, one of Jesus' close disciples, started far earlier. Earlier even than Matthew and Luke, who had started their stories with the miracles of the first Christmas. John starts with the story of creation. The first words of the Bible are found in Genesis.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Genesis 1:1.
In his account, John echoes the same words, writing,
In the beginning, the Word already existed. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. John 1:1.
He is deliberately directing his readers to look back to the beginning, using words they would be familiar with. John makes mighty claims about Jesus' identity in these early verses, using the Greek word logos, meaning word, to refer to him. Just as words reveal who a speaker really is to us, the Word revealed who God really was to humanity. John goes on to describe Jesus as being God himself and involved in creation. He pre-existed all that has ever been, flinging stars into space, carefully crafting galaxies in the palm of his hands, setting the limits of the oceans and carving mighty riverbeds. And miracle of miracles, he steps into his creation to restore it, accepting all that this involves, enduring pain, hunger, thirst, tiredness, loss, and suffering. All of this to save and redeem the wandering hearts of his creation. John grapples with such weighty concepts as he describes the miracle of what Christmas represented.
In the beginning, the Word already existed. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. He existed in the beginning with God. God created everything through him, and nothing was created except through him. The Word gave life to everything that was created, and his life brought light to everyone. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness can never extinguish it. John 1:1-5.
John painted a picture of the one promised at creation's birth shining against all the darkness that lined up against him, earthly powers and the powers of the enemy himself. Fleeing a murderous butcher of a king as a child refugee, having his neighbours attempt to throw him off a cliff on his first appearance preaching in his hometown, having the religious leaders scheme to entrap him in their attempts to destroy him for 2 years, he faced all the bitter assaults of the darkness. Ultimately, the forces of darkness allied to condemn him to death for a crime he did not commit through a cruel mockery of a just trial. He endured an agonizing death. He faced all the darkness could throw at him, but it could not extinguish him.
He came into the very world he created, but the world didn't recognize him. He came to his own people, and even they rejected him. But to all who believed him and accepted him, he gave the right to become children of God. They are reborn, not with a physical birth resulting from human passion or plan, but a birth that comes from God. So the Word became human and made his home among us. He was full of unfailing love and faithfulness, and we have seen his glory, the glory of the Father's one and only Son. From his abundance we have all received one gracious blessing after another. For the law was given through Moses, but God's unfailing love and faithfulness came through Jesus Christ. No one has ever seen God, but the unique one who is himself God is near to the Father's heart. He has revealed God to us. John 1:10-18.
And this is the hope we look to at Christmas. God became human and made his home among us, in the mess and in the mire. And his love never, ever, ever fails, no matter how many times we stumble and fall. Because through Jesus, the face of God has been revealed. By his coming, he invites all to enter the family of God, to be adopted as sons and daughters of God himself. In a later letter to the early church, John writes,
How great is the love the Father has lavished on us, that we should be called children of God, and that is what we are. 1 John 3:1.
On that first night in Bethlehem, in a filthy stable, in a small insignificant town in the Roman backwater of Judea, no one fully grasped what had happened. But everything had changed. Out of a stable was to come the one who had created all things. He had watched heartbroken as humanity had walked away from all that was good, and had watched devastated as they had torn themselves apart for countless generations, lying bloody and broken in the dust from which they had come. And he had desired to save them, to redeem them, and to restore them. In that night in lowly Bethlehem, the moment prophets had longed for centuries finally arrived, and the darkness was driven back, and despite its desperate attempts to extinguish the light, it was to be utterly, utterly defeated. The light still shines in the darkness. Despite the darkness, the enemy still attempts to weave around the hearts of humanity, blinding them to the truth of the bondage they are born into and what they have lost through their rebellion. Darkness will not have the final say. Because of what Jesus, the Word, has done, if we turn to him, we are given the opportunity to become sons and daughters of the Creator of all things, no matter what we have done, no matter what burdens we carry, no matter how empty, apathetic, or lost we feel. This Christmas, we are invited to stop in the distractions of the day and to immerse ourselves in the old familiar words, to yearn as the prophets did, to trust as Mary did, to believe as Joseph did, to jump with joy as the shepherds did, and to stand in awe as the Magi did. We are asked to open our hearts anew to the light, for it will come in and drive back the darkness choking us, and it will never, ever be distinguished. And we will be forever free from the bondage we were born into. We will finally be free. Merry Christmas, and thank you for listening.